Jesus fucking Christ. Think I got her. Got our target.
We make it? She alive?
About to find out.
V, jack into our biomon. Need to know what we're dealing with.
This does
Jacking
not
in.
look good.
Welcome everybody, it's Dave from my channel Islands Dave. Thanks for joining me today. How's it going? So I've decided to take a different approach to this series to see if you out there like this format any better. So instead of simply playing through and commenting or doing a review on the entire game, I'm going to be doing a review on each mission, each level of the game, dropping some insight as a former game designer and any other impressions that come to mind on the mission or level, or how the level works overall, how it progresses or it doesn't progress, the storyline, you know, stuff like that. It's also going to be basically a bird's eye overview or a synopsis of the entire mission and what's going on in it. This will be my first attempt to review anything, so please be gentle. I will be getting better. All right, enough chit chat. Buckle up. It's game time. I mean, review time. Okay, since this is the first episode, it will obviously have a little bit more than just the first mission because we have to set up our character, right? Well, in this game, you can set up your character. So that's what we'll be doing first before we even start playing the game, really. So I love playing games where you get to do this and be able to see your character in the game at times, like if you're looking at a mirror. It's just a really cool way to really personalize the game to the player, right? So you can make it look just like you, or you can make it look like anybody really you want, depending on how much interactivity you get in the creation of that character. First off, I have to give a tip of the hat to CD Projekt Red. I know the launch of this game has not been stellar, but in time, it will be a great game. I am positive of that. And the game, and it basically will become the game that we've been promised, that we were promised by CD Projekt. So, side note, my gaming life started with PC, and that's all there was until I think it was around 2006 or so. I can't remember the exact year, but it had been many years, nothing but PC, board, mouse, or keyboard and a mouse. And I was great at killing things with my mouse. I was a deadly one-shot assassin in most of the games I played. But when I switched to a controller, it was literally like learning to walk again. Trying to play Halo was just straight up embarrassing. So I've been on console controllers ever since I made the switch, and the point of telling you this is that I bought Cyberpunk 2077 for the PC, but I could not play it on the keyboard. My biggest problem was that the game would not allow me to remap the F key, because in the game, the F key is the interact key, and they decided to hard code, as of right now at least, hard code that key to only be the interaction key. And so I'm like one of those weirdo players that did not use the WASD system, right? The WASD method of moving around, the WSDA keys. And I used the ASDF. So, the A and the S was my left and right. And then my D was backwards, and my F was my moving forward for my playstyle, right? And that's And then my interaction key was always like E or something, but that's what it usually was on most games, at least back in the day. Interaction was E. So anyways, muscle memory and stuff, it was horrible. I could not play it. It was a train wreck. The first time I tried to play the game. So I had to switch over from the keyboard to my PS controller, and now things are good in the universe, and I'm loving life again. So anyways, I just wanted to share that little tidbit. So let's get back to it. So the amount of customization you can do to your character is ridiculous. From eye color to eyebrow color, different shapes and tweaks for your jaws, from your jaws to your ears, to skin color, to skin texture, body scars, tattoos, cybernetic implants, to your color of your fingernail polish. I mean, it gets pretty deep, and I really appreciate that. And they don't just give you generally just 2 or 3 options. There are a few categories that you only get a few, and that's fine. But yeah, it is. I mean, come on, that's crazy. The amount of customization you can do to your guy or girl, for that matter, in this game. So it's really cool. I mean, you can even have a guy sound like a girl or a girl sound like a guy. I mean, there's so many ways you can go. You could easily spend a couple hours changing up your character, or you can just choose from a pre-made one that they have that you can choose from and just jump right into the game, right? There are a lot of features, a lot of choices, and gamers love choices. Even the illusion of choices, which is what actually a lot of games really are, whether you know that or not. Okay, so let's just jump right into it then. So once you've got your character made, the game starts off with you basically waking up in a bar. You're staring at yourself, and immediately you get the option to fix your broken nose, which I did. That tells us right away that V, your character, gets into some stuff that maybe he can't get out of completely unscathed, whether it's his own doing or things happening to him. He's into trouble a lot, because you don't just wake up all messed up in a bar. If you live a nice boring life as like an accountant or something. No offense to accountants, they're great. So anyways, you start talking to Pepe, and he tells you he's pretty much screwed, that this guy named Kirk is going to mess him up real bad if he doesn't pay Kirk his money, right? So you agree to help him. This is important because it sets V's mindset and who he is right from the start. He cares about others and is willing to help. And he doesn't mind using his own street cred to help others out in a tight jam. So you go talk with Kirk, who, by the way, is like a total scumbag, douchey dude. And you sit down with him, and of course, Kirk's walking meatbag of a sidekick sits down right next to you, and real too close. Definitely doesn't understand the 6 feet separation rule, personal bubble, right? And he's not very big on words. So anyways, you ask for Kirk to cut Pepe a break, right? And not his leg. but Kirk refuses. He goes on about how it'll make him look weak and blah blah blah, the typical stuff. And if he does it for one, then he's gonna do it for everybody, and blah blah blah. So you say, you tell him that you'll owe him.
Transactions go 2 ways. I get that. I'll owe you a favor.
But he doesn't go for that, right? He doesn't budge. Instead, he throws down a job to steal this like super high-end car with a super high-end security system. He also goes on to tell you that he has this magic key that will open the car up for you. So you don't buy it really because you're like, yeah, come on, right? A magic key that's just gonna, open it up. Okay, any of these types of cars in the whole entire city? All right, fine. But you go for it, you take the job, and as you head out of the bar, the game introduces you with interactions with doors, which is like the most basic thing you could do in a game, right? So as you leave the bar, you run into an old friend. His name is Padre. So he insists that you get in his ride to catch up because I guess V's been gone for a while. And I don't know, this guy just really seemed kind of scummy, and like I personally thought he was going to try to kill me. But he didn't. He just I don't know. He just had that look to him. But anyways, so you catch up with him, and all of a sudden this like dude stops the car and starts talking to Padre, and like he totally like calls him out, like through the window, right? So they roll down the window, and he starts talking through the window, starts talking trash to Padre about how generous he's going to be to give him territory and.
Boys off the street. I'll give you the Glen. Done deal. No more restless nights. See how generous I can be.
How great he is, and just totally talking trash. And V takes offense to that, and then they have some words. And anyways, the guy leaves. He's like the 6th Street Warrior or something like that, or something like that. Anyways, he takes off after totally disrespecting Padre, and he totally disrespects him because he's like the new ambitious kid on the block. And he doesn't understand the hierarchy of the streets, right? So Padre pretty much blows him off and tells V that he will be paying for his disrespectful tone. So cool, right? So Padre is taking care of business. He hands you his card, and you jump out of the car and head to the garage to try to find this like sweet ride for Kirk. And you find the car, which is called a Rayfield. Without too much searching around the garage, it's pretty much just right there. And you get out the skeleton key gadget, cyber tech wear thing, and it totally like opens up the car just fine. So you get in, and I think like maybe like a secondary alarm or something gets tripped because you see kind of like a warning sign, like all the windows turn red, and then this dude comes out of nowhere and drags you from the car, and just in time before you guys can really do anything or say anything to each other, the cops come, right, and ruin your night, pretty much. So the owner of the car, I'm pretty sure it's the owner of the car, comes down, and he basically tells the cops to kill the two of you, right? To just like break your legs, tie you guys up, break your legs, and throw you in the river so you can't. You can't swim to freedom. I was like, geez. Okay, so obviously there's some level of corruption going on here. Whether the cop took it seriously or not, just the fact that he said that was kind of crazy. So anyways, you wake up the next day. I guess it's the next day. And guess what? Yeah, your nose is broken again, and you have to fix it. And I think that is a great tie-in to the beginning of the game. And perhaps that's a premise now that he breaks his nose all the time, and maybe we'll be fixing our nose quite often through the game. I don't know. I kind of hope so. That'd be kind of a cool thing. But anyways, the guy that pulled you from the Rayfield is sitting next to you, and his name is Jackie, and he wants to be friends now. And he's like, yeah, come on, let's go get some food or whatever. So this starts a awesome montage of Jackie and V partying and like getting into fights on the dance floor and in other warehouses or whatnot, and doing what looks like various jobs for Padre. And V ends up looking in the mirror a few times, and he just looks hammered. Like, he's just not having great days. So anyways, the montage ends a half a year later with you and Jackie, with V and Jackie in the car, about to do another job. So you're supposed to rescue this girl that was kidnapped. And before you go in, Jackie gives you a training shard. And that basically lets you go through basic combats, introduces the tutorials of the game, combat and hacking and some other things. But, it's probably pretty standard stuff. But it was kind of cool because that's something that's pretty natural in the game, because that's something you would use a training shard. Like if you lived in this world, right? You just pop it in, and however that works. So if you choose to train, you just start the mission when you're finished doing all that stuff. But you start out by entering the building, which introduces interacting with elevator buttons. And as you approach the door where the girl should be located, you're given the chance to do your very first real life hack by opening the locked door, which is kind of cool. It's nothing too complicated, but it kind of gives you that boost of, yay, I can do this. And so these mechanic introductions so far have been very organic and don't feel shoehorned into the gameplay. And that's really kind of nice. So you breach the door, or the room, I should say, and you end up finding a body. And it's quickly determined that it's not the girl, because the cyberware on the corpse was too cheap looking, basically. This girl was definitely a high-end player, or at least her parents were really wealthy, apparently. So anyways, so as you enter the next room, you get your first chance to sneak up and take out a baddie. I pretty much always kill them, which is exactly what I did. I hid the body and moved on. We now are given the opportunity a little bit farther in to take out multiple baddies at one time. Again, it's a very fluid and organic way to show the progression of skills to the player. And from there, you're introduced to your first battle arena or fight pits, or there's a lot of things that it can be called, but it's a much more open space designed to engage with multiple enemies at once. And generally, you'll go from a tighter space, like a corridor or a hallway, or even the rooms we were in before, they were much smaller. And then you work your way through several of those and into like the fighting pit or the arena, and you have a big battle. And then you go down into like the small corridors again, and then you go into a bigger, area. And this is basically just rinsed and repeated in so many video games. It's a standard. It's not going to look exactly like that, but that's exactly what it is. It also should provide smaller areas to hide behind and take cover. Like, what's that game? That one game. You know the one I'm talking about. Holy cow, I can't think of it now. But it's basically, that's what that game is. Just like literally going from corridors to open spaces to corridor to open spaces. I'll think of it. Yeah, anyways, I digress. Yeah, so I decided to take the stealth approach, and I just choked everyone to death because, basically that's how I roll. So from that room, it led right into the boss battle, basically, where essentially there's another fight pit. I mean, everything was like all one big room, but it was kind of sectioned off into two separate areas because the final boss was just kind of hanging out doing whatever in the other room. But that room was set up basically to be another fight pit. And but I never really had to use it. I took him down pretty fast. So after taking out the boss, you find the princess, yay, aka the girl you've been looking for the whole time. She's in a tub of ice with another dude, and she does not look good. The room is like straight out of the movie Hostel. Yikes. That would be like one of my worst nightmares come true. To be stuck in a situation like that. Oh, you end up jacking into her system and take out the jammer, essentially the jammer that allows, which allows the medics to come get her. It was the thing making it so that the medics did not know she needed help. So you hand her off to the paramedics because they get there right away. You inform those who need to be informed that the girl is alive and safe. The lady that hired you has your money, and you'll probably be picking it up the next day, right? Because you're tired. The last obstacle of the mission, which really wasn't an obstacle, but they threw it in there, was that the area that we were in was now being sealed off for reasons. I'm not sure what it was. And Jackie wants to get back to his girl. V just wants to go to sleep so he can go pick up his cash the next day. And on their way there, they encounter a van of thugs, and like they open up the back of the van and just start shooting for reasons. I'm not sure what this was for. Maybe it was that guy, the 6th Street soldier that talked down to Padre earlier, because he also threatened V as well. Like maybe this is like some kind of, I don't know, retaliation because maybe he felt slighted or something. That wasn't very clear, but it did introduce the player to shooting while in a vehicle. So this mechanic definitely felt shoved in, but if it was that guy from before, it would have just taken like one sentence from the guys in the back of the van saying, you know, like as they open the doors, like, this is from the 6th Street soldier, right? I mean, and that would have been like, oh, okay, totally. I totally understand that it's the dude that we saw before and he's trying to take him out now. Okay, that makes total sense. Then that whole scene would have felt totally organic as well. But I don't know. Either way, I mean, it wasn't horribly fit in, but, you know, it was there. It was good. It's all good, though. So you end up just shooting the driver and make it out of that safe. And immediately you pretty much come across the blockade, and Jackie does some sweet talking to the officer, explaining how he needs to get to his lady. And it gets us through without a hitch. So V gets back to his apartment to go to sleep. Jackie, I presume, is heading to his girl's place. I don't know really what he's doing, but really it doesn't matter. So anyway, so this was the first mission. So I can't really compare it to anything else yet, but I liked it. It felt good. Like every beat, in my opinion, tied nicely into the next, which kept the story moving along at a good pace. You also picked up a few weapons and other trinkets. Now, the whole crafting and setting up specific build types, I don't know. This is a whole Saturday Night Live character. He goes to say, I don't know. Anyways, yeah, I'm not sure about that. I need to look into that a bit more to fully understand what's really going on there, because it seems very vast and broad. and quite frankly, I'm not totally getting it yet, but I haven't really done it yet. So there's, that disconnect. But in any case, it does look fun and exciting. And this game looks like it's going to be a very, very fun game to play. And I think it's going to throw the player deep into the story and into the lore of Cyberpunk 2077. So let's see what adventures await. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, hit that notification bell. Any likes and comments are, of course, appreciated, especially if you kind of like this format a little bit better. I'm not exactly sure how long this video is going to be. I'm guessing it's probably going to be between 10 and 15 minutes. We'll see. Or it might be between 5 and 10. I don't know. Anyways, it should be shorter than what my normal videos have been, because some of them are like an hour and a half long, which is ridiculous. But anyways, yeah, so just comment down below what you felt. And all right, guys, so I love you all. Stay safe, and until next time, bye.